So the last one, the third one, is the unworthiness. And this can happen at any age. And basically is oh, we all have it. To some degree, we all have it. Sure, it's much easier to identify when we had a horrible childhood and there was abuse and there was humiliation and we were put down and constantly criticized. Then it's clear that we have it. But there are also more subtle situations where we are loved, or maybe very much loved, but conditionally. It's like, yeah, we love you because you're the joker of the family. We love you. And it's so great that you're doing so good in school, and my God, and another award. And we are so proud of you. You know, it's so hard to identify because you look back and but I was loved. But I always heard appreciation from my parents, yes, but only in a certain role, only in a certain, when we were giving something, when we were proving ourselves. Also, my God, you're such a good daughter. You are always there for your brothers and sisters and your mother and your father. You're amazing. You're such a caretaker. Beautiful. But what I get deep inside is that there is something wrong with me, that I need to prove that I deserve love. It's very subtle. Yeah. Also, when there are discussions in the house, parents talk about other people, and this is acceptable or good, and this is not acceptable or evil. We get ideas. Whenever there is a measuring stick in the house, we get the unworthiness wound. Whenever we are compared with siblings, the measuring stick says you need to, the way you are is not okay. You need to raise to some standards. And some of us, we choose to, yeah, I'm going to fight, I'm going to work to reach that standard. And some of us are like, I can never reach that standard. So I'm going to be the black sheep of the family, or I'm going to be the stupid, or, there is always, and not always, but there is often in between siblings, there is this split. I hear people coming, I don't have sisters and brothers, but I hear people coming and say, like, yeah, I was always the smart one, and my sister was the beautiful one. Or my brother was the joker, and I was the responsible one. And we are cast into these roles. And the problem is, if I am the beautiful one, then what happens when my beauty starts fading? Because at some point it starts fading. Then I start becoming insecure. And even before that, if everything, or if the love that I get is from me being beautiful, if my boyfriend has a work friend who, in my opinion, is more beautiful than me, I feel insecure. I feel unworthy. So whatever measuring stick is there is a problem. Yeah, so that's actually it's not what our parents did or what our siblings did, is the belief that we grow up with, which is something is wrong with me and I need to deserve love. I need to do something, I need to work for it. Or I might never get it because I don't have what it takes to get it. And so there are a few things which we do when we have this wound. And one is we don't go for dating. We don't invite someone for a coffee, or we don't put ourselves out there. Is one way it manifests. And we might justify, I'm busy with work. I did this myself. Oh, I'm so busy. And it's not that. It's that really inside we feel we are not really worth it. And I don't want to have the experience which will make it clear to me that I'm not worth it. Because if I'm going to be rejected, then it's clear that something is wrong with me. So that's one thing. And another thing is we go out and we sabotage ourselves. So it would be funny if it weren't our life. We say things which we don't want to say. You know, we make a joke and it's offensive for the other person, or we get drunk, or we stumble, or, you know, it's just, we can sabotage ourselves on dates just because we feel so insecure inside. We have this feeling that I'm not wealthy enough. We might get into well, we might feel attracted. Yeah, we might feel attracted and want to create a relationship with somebody who is manifesting our ideal. You know, so if I think I should be smarter, I might go for a man who is smart. Or I should be younger. For some time, I dated younger guys just because I was insecure about my age. So, because I learned somehow at some point in my life that you get love only as long as you're young. So yeah, we date people who, and that's painful because then while we are in the interaction with them, then we start comparing ourselves with them, and we feel, of course, less than. You know, if I chose a smart guy and he starts being smart, and we are out with his friends, and I have nothing to say, this wonderful, as he says, I might feel very insecure. And that's a slippery slope. The moment I start feeling insecure, you know, it doesn't take long to feel like, oh, I'm completely there, there's nothing valuable about me. And then it can only go downwards from there. Or we can go for people who, that's also very interesting. This is also something I learned from Christian Amara, and it was so perplexing for me, but so true, that we might get together with people who would date our ideal. So I don't feel so beautiful, but if a guy is open to me, a guy who would otherwise date models, okay, I'm like, yeah, jackpot. I hit the jackpot. And that, because he chose me, it validates that maybe I am also equally beautiful. But that's also a trap, because the next time we are in a restaurant and he looks around and there is a beautiful model to the next table, I feel, guess what, insecure. So we choose in our dating in a way which feeds our insecurity. It's also to see that as long as I'm not aware of my unworthiness, then I do things and I choose things which reinforce the idea that something is wrong with me. Sorry, I need to look, just because I don't remember. I remember there were two more points. Yeah. So we also, this is a trap where we create an image about ourselves around our qualities. So for example, I have an easiness with making money, and then I go dating and I put that on display. I can make money, and then I attract a certain type of people. Or yeah, I put out that I am very connected, I am a socialite, I can open doors anywhere, I have a lot of influence, or I have power, or I have talent, I'm an artist. So we lead with that in dating, and then we are upset that once we get close to the person doesn't accept us as we are. But of course, because we didn't show them who we are, we just showed them this bit, which was easy for us. And I don't know if you watched Friends, and if you know the story about Matthew Perry. Yeah, I didn't read his book, but from everything that he was sharing and is public, it really breaks my heart because of, he was incredibly talented at making people laugh. And so he was putting this out. And so nobody got to see who he was underneath all that. He was sad about this until the end of his life. And so, yeah, it's just, of course, he was in recovery and he was discovering all these things and he was working on it and so on. But yeah, most of us are not even aware. We don't know. And I heard, also people saying, but I don't know, my girlfriends they are just interested in money. Yeah, because that's what you showed. Or I don't know, my girlfriends don't accept me unless I am tough. Well, isn't that how you got them? Yeah, so it's also to become aware that sometimes we use our qualities. And the last one is when we are self-critical. Sometimes we are so deeply self-critical, nobody satisfies us, because to the extent that we judge ourselves, we judge the others. Nobody is good enough for us. And the truth is, nobody is perfect. But inside of us, we believe that perfection is possible, and we hold ourselves against that perfection. We ask from us to reach that perfection, and then we ask it also from the people around us. So then we never come together with someone. Yeah. So, okay, this is how it looks. But there is a way out, and there's also a way up, because for me, these wounds are, sure, it's painful to look at them, but for me, it's always good news because they are also the way up. The abandonment wound is the way to self-love, basically. Is the way to feeling complete and feeling whole. The invasion wound is the way up to feeling your strength, feeling your confidence. I can walk anywhere because nobody can do anything to me, because I have it in me to stop them. So then I can meet with anybody. I can come close. I can go to dates. I can go on this path toward a relationship 3 steps, 25 steps, 100 steps, because I can say no at any point. So this strength and self-confidence. And then this with the unworthiness, the growth is actually in value, self-value, self-worth. So the way we go about it that worked in my experience, so I don't know, but about others, what they say, but for me, it really is a lot about becoming aware of that voice inside, which says, you're not intelligent, you're not beautiful enough, you are not feminine enough, you're not masculine enough, you're not assertive, you're too soft, you're too tough, it never is never happy. And we can use our dating for that. You know, I go on a date and I see my partner looking around, looking at another woman, and I feel jealousy. I feel the sting of jealousy in my heart. What do I say to myself in that moment? I am not what? As beautiful as her. Okay, so that's one. I'm putting it on paper. Or I hear my date talking about his old girlfriend who has a good business and she's well known and everybody talks about her. And I'm thinking, oh, I am not as successful. I'm putting it down. So I'm taking notes. For me, dating was for a long time about this. Or I'm looking at the man across the table at a coffee and I'm like, he seems so insecure. That's also what I think about myself. So it's also, or yeah, I look at who I'm choosing. So why I'm choosing someone who makes me feel not good about myself? Because he has some qualities which I want, which I feel they are not there for me. So I put everything on paper. And this is the first step. And the second step is something which I cannot really put today in because actually it's a lot. So it's another webinar and actually days days of workshop about this. But the essence is I start questioning these voices. So I'm not buying into them immediately. I am as I used to. So I'm just, okay, so I said to myself, you're not smart. And then I asked myself, is that true? And really widen my mind. Really widen my mind in the sense that I'm not looking at this smartness, but I'm looking at, I don't know, the whole world. Is there any other way of looking at this, which is more compassionate, more kind to myself? And for me, with the smartness is like, yeah, I'm not smart in the way this man is. He's very knowledgeable, for example. But I have a different kind of smart. I can be in a room and I can look at the people around and I can feel what they feel. And I can kind of read their intentions. I don't know, maybe emotional intelligence. I don't know what it's called. Or, you know, maybe I have practical intelligence. Often one partner is like so well read and he can speak about this and that, but when it comes to opening a jar of something, he cannot, and we can fix it like this. So for me, it's like we are so many colors on this world, on this earth of smarts. I have my own color and he doesn't have that color. Isn't that great that we can come together? Or it's also the belief that I'm holding around that quality. So for example, beautiful, like I'm not beautiful enough. I had to ask myself about that one. Is it really that I'm not beautiful? And I had to say, yeah, I'm not beautiful. Like, I mean, it's also to be realistic. I'm not beautiful like a model. Yeah, I don't have the height. I don't have the boobs. I have a scar on my face. My hair only sits the way it wants to sit. But the belief around it is, if you're not physically beautiful, then you cannot have a relationship, then you will be alone. And then that is the question, is it true? And my life experience showed me that it's not true. My life experience showed me that as long as I show myself and I speak about what's happening for me, what I'm feeling, what I'm needing, then people just love to connect. Not everyone, but that's fine. So, yeah. So I would say the tool is questioning. And then the way we do it, it's, like I said, it's a topic for another webinar running. It was very juicy for me to be with you and to receive your sharings and your insights and your energy, because I can really feel you.